Hey viewers, my name is Martin Caballero. I'm the assistant editor at BevNet, and I'm here at Natural Products Expo West 2018 in Anaheim, California. I'm really pleased to be joined by Jeff Church, the CEO and co-founder of Suja. How's it going?
Good, Marty. It's going really well. Thanks.
Another busy show, I imagine.
It's crazy. I think every year it seems like you can move less and less in the aisles.
Very true. Well, tell us a little bit about, you guys are always rolling out new innovations. I think this year we have a plant-based milk line. Could you sort of tell us about a little bit the concept behind that and how that fits into your overall master brand strategy at Suja?
Yeah, no, thanks for asking the question. We really appreciate you being here and talking to all the different entrepreneurs. It's really great to see your videos and see everything online and see it so fast. So
right, thank you.
Thanks. We're excited about some of our new innovation this year. One of them is a plant-based milk. So it's a non-nut-based, organic, non-GMO, organic milk, and it's the only one on the market that doesn't have natural flavors in it, and it's super tasty, using pea protein, 8 grams of protein. It's our first entree into the dairy space. We like the dairy space because, one, it doesn't cannibalize as much from our existing produce space where the juices and our kombuchas are largely. So that's really positive that it's 1 + 1 = more than 2. And when you're going into a different department of the store, the retailers seem to really like it because they know we can bring the households that we already have in produce into the dairy set.
How do you balance this? You're always coming out with new innovations, always expanding that master brands. How do you balance that? That credibility across those different categories in juice and kombucha, and then now in plant-based milk, where people maybe not as familiar with you in that specific category?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's really about flawless execution, and that's kind of what it's been for the last 6 years since we started Suja. It's been, we've had the audience of being in front of Whole Foods in the beginning, and that's when you're in front of Whole Foods, you can't screw up at all. So the culture that we've kind of created is one of, just perform the heck out of it, and always win, always perform, really tight, really well. And I think that's what has been super successful for us. And I think the other thing that's been important is we don't let great get in the way of good. So a lot of times you want to get an innovation, perfect. And our approach is, don't let great get in the way of good. Get it out in the market, and then you can tweak it as you go. But if you wait to get it perfect every time, you end up constipating the system and never getting anything really done. I think that's one of the keys to us being able to innovate as quickly as we've been able to innovate.
What's the timeline on those innovations? How long does the R&D process take from concept stage to actually executing?
I mean, we can actually come up from idea stage to in the market in 6 to 8 weeks. So it's ridiculously, short period of time for us. As we get older and bigger as a company, we're trying to inject a little more discipline into that process so that we don't want to take a year or 9 months or anything like that, but taking 4 or 5 months is just fine if we add a little discipline up front. But for us, for Suja, it's been about, we've averaged in the last 6 years a new SKU every 9 days. Over that 6-year period. We've also killed, a SKU every 14 days. So, and we've ended up with an incremental 70 SKUs is where we've ended up. But it's about, you don't know what's really going to work when you start, so you got to kind of put it out there and see what kind of traction you get. Hopefully, if you're good with your retailers, then it's not working, you kill it. You don't let them kill it, you kill it, because that creates the respect and honesty and transparency that they really want to hear.
Can you give us maybe an example of a post-release tweak that you've made to any of the products? As you mentioned, you got them out in the market, and then responding to what you're seeing.
Yeah, pretty much. Most of the stuff we've done at Costco, where you have consumer-facing products that are ready for consumers to pick up. A lot of it's been with the packaging on the outer boxes. We've launched in the beginning with our word cloud on the outer box, and it was busy, and you couldn't see anything from afar. Once we got it out there, though, we realized that was happening, and we made a change on the fly. We've also been very relaxed about throwing out stuff that's been obsoleted. So a lot of brands will, not get out of a product because they still have packaging left or they still have ingredients left of some sort. If it's not working, we'll get out of it and we'll let it go, and we'll focus and we'll take the hit because it's a sunk cost on those ingredients, and we'll move on to the next thing. So because these things tend to linger for a year, and then people get upset, retailers get upset. So it's kill fast, and kind of like hire slow and kill fast. So it's really about that for us.
And I know you guys have a couple new flavors in your kombucha line that you're showcasing at the show. Kombucha is such an interesting category because everyone has a sort of different approach to flavor, to sort of presentation, to marketing. What is the sort of identity or personality that Suja has taken it on specifically for kombuchas?
Yeah, great question. I think the identity for Suja is, since we're fairly late in terms of the kombucha market launching already, we're adding adaptogens into each product, each of our kombuchas, as an added benefit to consumers. So we'll have ashwagandha in one of them, we'll have reishi mushroom in another, we'll have schizandra berry in another, and it's an additional twist for us to be able to differentiate ourselves. We're also launching a mini booch line here at the show, which is an 8.5 ounce product instead of a normal 16 or 15.2, and we're selling it as a case of 4. For about $8 a case, so it doesn't take any money out of the retailers category, so they like that, and it brings consumers in to a different use occasion. So a lot of people we've heard, can't finish a full 16-ounce bottle, and they'd like a smaller bottle. It also allows us to get into the kids market a little bit more by having a product that's much more addressable for that.
Absolutely. And obviously, juice is really the cornerstone of the brand. That's what a lot of people know you from before a lot of the other extensions came about. Can you talk a little bit about sort of the changing landscape in cold pressed juice? What are some of the things that you've learned from consumers? What are they looking for that are maybe different from years past? And then you also have the juice shots that I'd like to talk a little bit about as well.
Yeah, so the juice shots we've been watching the shot market for the past 3 years, and we really wanted to see it mature a little bit before we launched a line of products. We know because of our cold pressing capabilities that we can do that very well and our in-house HPP, but we really didn't want to be the only person out there trying to do the full missionary work on the juice, on the shots. And with Vive and with Core, you've got 2 good competitors that have come out in the market, so we feel like it's ready now for us to launch. And we're launching with an immunity, a digestion, and energy, but there'll be definitely more to come as we get going. I think on your other question on the changing of the juice landscape, what we're seeing is juice is the hero for us still. We come from being a juice company, but now what's happening in the natural health beverage market is it's truly morphing from a juice market into a functional natural health beverage market, what it really probably should be. So we don't really look at ourselves as a juice company, although that is our origins. We look at ourselves as a natural health beverage master brand company that can cut across different segments and provide solutions for those segments because of those retailer relationships that we have.
Recently, you guys participated in the cold pressure certified seal program. So all the Suja juices have the seal where it lets people know it's been HPP treated. How is that rollout going out, and how is that impacting consumers and sort of creating that better understanding of exactly what you guys are offering?
Yeah, I mean, it's not as consumer facing as you might think. It's really about creating safety and reliability in the HPP community of the brands that are launching it, because there's so many over 100 different HPP brands out there today, and there's a range, as you can imagine, of quality and safety and reliability in there. And what we're trying to do is show retailers and consumers, but primarily retailers, that that this is a seal that indicates that these brands are doing the right challenge studies, that they're taking the right safety precautions, that they're doing the right things. And that's really important, because there's nothing worse that could happen than one of these 100 brands that are in HPP have a problem, because it can bring a shadow on the whole industry. And these emerging technologies, emerging brands are such that it's super important. They're super fragile in the beginning.
Absolutely. I want to ask a little bit, too, about there's a new collaboration with Zico that I believe is launching at the show. Can you tell us a little bit about that and sort of the concept, how it came together?
Yeah, I mean, Zico's a great brand. It's a brand of Coca-Cola's, and they came to us, Tom Larson, the founder, or the CEO of president of Zico, and wanted to develop a line of coconut water combined with cold pressed juice. So the combination we call Cocoa Elixirs, and they're about 50% coconut water from Zico and 50% cold pressed juice from Suja, and together they make a really great, tasting, low calorie, low sugar drink. Tom approached me it was about 4 months from approaching to being ready to launch, and that product is launching here in as we speak, basically at the show. So great product line, great brand to be working with. We love Zico, love their energy, love their optimism, their enthusiasm. So really great collaboration. And what we hope to bring to Coke is a little bit of helping them collapse their innovation cycle so that emerging brands like Suja can be really successful within over the long term, despite being invested in by a brand like Coca-Cola or other CPG brands.
Yeah, it sounds like a really cool partnership.
Yeah, it's great.
I wanted to ask too about you guys opened a plant or a new facility last year. Obviously, a lot of new SKUs and a lot of stuff to fill that production plant. So how is that going, and sort of what kind of capacity can you do? What new things can you do that you couldn't do before?
Yeah, I mean, our capacity of our new plant initially is about 250 million in revenue, and it's scalable up to about 500 million in revenue. So we got as much capacity as we can possibly handle. Now it's about kind of filling it up with like-minded products that make sense. But it's about 200,000 square foot facility in Oceanside. It's great. We've invested a ton of money into sustainability. So the wastewater that we generate, we have to put back into the water stream cleaner than drinking water. So we're actually able to clean our machinery, with that and save about 3 million gallons a year. We've also been able to pretty much get rid of our corrugate, so we don't have that waste going on, and we've replaced it with collapsible plastic bins that our farmers send the product into us each week, and we send back to them. So we've tried to really design it with a real sustainability mission in mind, because we believe that's important, and we believe our consumers believe that's important. The plant itself is a great plant. We brought our whole focus is to democratize organic beverages and make them available to the masses at an accessible price point, and that's what our plant helps us do. Helps us ensure that we'll be able to keep our costs at the lowest possible place for the long run.
With all the products that you've done and all the different projects that you've taken on, that some are still going, some that maybe are not going, is there any that you sort of look back on and with the most pride, or that was the biggest challenge to overcome that really gives you the most satisfaction?
Yeah, I think our early innovation with Whole Foods, with our Elements line, was super exciting. It was about 4 years ago now at this show that we showed up with all of our juices on, there were 50 different people in the crowd from Whole Foods, all the regions. And we showed up with samples for Elements. We had 20 different juice samples, and we had them all rated by the Whole Foods people. And we were super excited to be even offered to come and participate. And then that turned into a really successful product line in Whole Foods that we had something called the Cause Collective, that we donated a dime back on each bottle, and we donated about $1 million worth of money to charities for each of the juices that we had. So it was really a collaborative effort that ultimately, won us the Supplier of the Year award by Whole Foods in 2013. That's probably the one I'm most proud of.
Thank you so much for your time, Jeff.
You're
It was
welcome.
really great talking with you.